And now for something completely different, as somebody once said. Let there be light. I'm going to step back a bit so you can. I do know I speak loud, so I can probably work without the microphone, but I'll stay on this side. My name is Onno Janssen. I work for Philips Lighting. I'm on the boundary between research and business. Been there for my whole period, as Robert already introduced me. Always like, okay, how can we turn this technology into an application in the market? For the last couple of years, I've been part of Philips Lighting, but I have not spent 1 minute on illumination. For me, it's all about data and light, and what else can you do with light other than just illuminate? The nice thing about lighting is that it's all around us all the time. We as people need light, and whenever there's not sunlight out there, we have artificial light, and even when there is sunlight, we still have the artificial light on. So, what can we do with that? Especially in the context of new communication and IoT, light is an entity that most people ignore, but I think it has some nice attributes that we can exploit going forward. And what my other panelists already indicated, it becomes less and less about communication per se. It's more about how do you connect and mix and get it to the application level and service level so that it's meaningful to all of us. Honestly, I don't care what standard my phone uses. I just care that I can communicate and it works. Okay, so and actually one thing about light, communication with light is actually older than communication with RF. I think one of the older patents is from Alexander Graham Bell, where in 1880, where he filed a patent and was granted for communicating voice through modulated sunlight. So just to put it in perspective a little bit. And nobody thinks about it right now, but the majority of our communication is happening through light with fiber optics. So please don't ignore light as a player in this domain. What I want to do is zoom in on a few examples of what we are doing with light and visible light communication in the market today. It's more focused on the application and a little bit less on the technology. I'll touch the technology, don't worry. But I have a few slides on it. A couple of open doors to start with. The whole mobile market, I don't think there's a single person in this room that doesn't have a mobile phone. And actually, I would bet that about 30% have two. Yeah. And actually, I can tell you that if you go into the teenager age, then actually two is like, well, no, okay. They probably in the drawer have an old one. So mobile is everywhere, people are using it all the time. So then the question is, how does that play a role and how does that benefit? One of the things that we looked into when I started to work in visible light communications. Okay, so what do people do with it and what do people expect from it? And actually location is something that came up a lot. And some of the market studies also show that people don't mind being bothered or being tapped on the shoulder it's for some location service, as long as it is the right location and the right time. But okay, I cannot influence the time. I'll show you later that we can influence location. The problem that we noticed with that is if you look at many of the existing technologies for indoor, the accuracy is lacking. At best, you see that it's just touching the level that most applications need, like with Bluetooth, 2-3 meters accuracy. Some claim a little bit better. Wi-Fi a little bit less. Okay, but still, it's like okay, you can just use it. But most people who are investing in technologies today would like to get an order of magnitude better, simply to get some headroom, some room to play. In comes light. What we figured out is actually the combination of using visible light communication, and you could call it visual odometry. It's a form of that, computer vision. The combination actually allows you to get a very accurate position. Yes, we're still using Bluetooth as well, so think of us as an infrastructure provider that now not only illuminates but also gives you communication, sensing, and position. That's where the lighting industry is going. That's where Philips Lighting is going, and a number of our competitors, we go down that same path. The nice thing is that if you're installing or refurbishing and you're going for LED lighting, that's the right moment to piggyback and really carry all these new capabilities on top of the energy saving that pays for the update to LED. But you get all these additional benefits almost for free. I mean, technically, not commercial. The nice thing also, if you do it right, and that's where the beauty comes in of visible light communication, there are no real standards. It's not a mature market. So the nice thing is that you can play around with the format and with the structure in such a way that you can target it for the devices. So one of the things we did is make a version that actually can be detected with a smartphone, just using the camera. So you actually get a combination of a sum of benefits, and that's really where, that's the engine that we're using to roll out more and more location-aware lighting solutions. How does it work? Actually, very briefly, the luminaires, the fixed, we call them luminaires. Luminaire is the combination of the light emitting part plus the fixture. It's a combi. That's the word luminaire we use. So beside the light part, you can also put other things in there. For example, Bluetooth. The nice thing is you have power, so you're not dependent on battery. So you can actually, from a Bluetooth infrastructure perspective, you have that advantage as well. And very often, let's say a space like this, those lights, those luminaires are connected. So there's kind of like a backbone of a connectivity infrastructure as well. What happens is that the camera, or the Bluetooth, let me focus on visible light communication, is actually with a piece of software. We take those images and we extract the data that is in the light. So this one is different than that one. And if I know where those are, then I can derive my location based on that. Actually, what I said it in one sentence, but it goes in a two-step. One is this one identifies with a generic identifier. This one identifies with a different one. Now, how do I know where these identifiers are? That's actually what we look up in the cloud, where we have a database which shows which identifier is where. The nice thing is that it gives us flexibility and it gives us access control as to who can actually determine position. Of course, on top of that, you have applications that can do whatever they want with this latitude, longitude inside, because that's what we provide. If you talk about accuracy, then technical accuracy can go down to inch accurate. Some of my team members in research say it can even be better, but in practice, in reality, we market it as foot accurate, which is this order of magnitude more accurate than the other technologies, and therefore gives us some headroom, gives some peace of mind to people deploying this. Second to last slide, the three applications. What do we do with it? Actually, one huge benefit is if we put a lighting solution in a space like this, then the switches are electronic. They're not hardwired to the luminaires. So typically what you need to do is identify the lights in this room and commission them to that controller. Now, what is easier to do that than just to get all the codes and collect them and say, okay, this group belongs to this room, and then put the controller in place to handle that. In the past, it was done that actually somebody would switch on and off one of the lights, and then there was somebody standing in his room and said, no, and then, yeah, got one, okay. And then you do that for all of them. And with this little thing, by putting data in light, you can reduce the time to set up a lighting system in a large space. So we went in a 6,000 luminaire setup of 12 stories building. We went from 3 weeks to 1.5 days, just to give you an idea. Now, okay, but if I have those codes, then the next thing I can do is I can control the light where I am. I simply put my phone out, I have an app. The app simply sees which light it is, and then the dim commands go to the light control system, because it knows where it is, so it can control that light. And somebody in the back of the room using it would control the light that's over their table. If I use it, it would be here. I can, of course, then add things like room comfort or blinds, that here I can control the blinds, where over there you cannot. All those kind of things are possible. Still very coarse, and you can do it with other ways as well. The exact inner positioning you see for location-based marketing. I mentioned about the right thing at the right moment, at the right time, accurate location. One of the nice things we can do with VLC positioning is that actually you have orientation as well, because I know that this code and that code in this room is oriented in a certain way, so I don't need a compass. I just need to see two codes, and I know how I'm oriented. And this is not influenced by any other magnetic aspect or anything, so you get a few degrees accuracy simply from the light. Is this new? No. Actually, we're in business with this already since 2014. Honestly, mainly with pilots. Many of the customers are trying this out. We started in the retail because that's where the accuracy makes sense. Especially in Europe and the Middle East, we have now a couple of apps live, stores live, where actually the whole venue is refitted with LED lighting, with this VLC capability. And when you have your app, the store app, you go in, and it gives you either promotions or coupons on the spot, or it actually helps you with product finding based on your shopping list that you brought to the store. So that's about it. So don't forget about visible light communication as a player, as a connectivity layer. And if you look into this and think about it, this is also IoT, because IoT is about connecting things, and it doesn't have to be RF to connect things. We can also use other means to connect things.